Hello, everyone. This is Nancy O'Neill. I'm your hostess. Welcome to another podcast of That Man Jesus Ministry. I am here once again with financial professional Kimberly Barnes. Kim, you are now a frequent guest on our podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself, or do you want to just get right into the topic?
Well, we're going to jump right into the topic pretty quick. So I'll just say
Okay.
thank you. I am a regular and I love it. We have such good conversation that we don't want to stop
Yes.
and go so long. But yeah, no, the one thing I will say is that I am a financial professional. I am building my team. We are
Yes.
nationwide. So anyone looking for, like a side hustle, extra money, helping people, all that type of stuff,
Mhm.
Nancy, and give her your name. Let me know. I'm building it, and we work from home too. So it's all that's all. I'll put that little shameless plug out there as we
Hey,
get.
there's nothing wrong with shameless plugs. I will definitely, anyone who reaches out to me, I'll definitely forward your information, their information onto you. Unless you want to provide some of your contact information on the podcast, like an email or, business number, whatever you feel comfortable doing. So I'll get right into the conversation. Tonight, we are talking about scaling your business. So the last time we met 2 weeks ago, Kim and I were talking about starting your business. Was that the primary topic? I'm trying to recall our conversation. We were talking about working your business, basically, like putting in the work, being consistent and diligent. So when you are, like, for instance, a 2 hour or 3 hour phone block, you're being consistent with that. You're making those calls and, not just copping out because you're working for yourself or working from home. So it took me a while to my recall had to kick in real quick.
I'm glad you did. I'm like, this last
What
week has
happened in the last 2 weeks?
oh my gosh. I said last week was the longest year ever. So I don't know what I remember. I've slept too many times since then, but I'm glad you remember.
Yeah, well, I just remember bits and pieces because, I had the interview with Denitra Townsend Gregory, who was our speaker about a week and a half ago. And then I knew yours was the piggyback interview where we kind of had part two with our conversation. So it's starting to come back now. But so we talked about working your business pretty much as a solopreneur, entrepreneur working by yourself. Now you're ready to advance and scale, which is what you're doing actually in your own personal business. So tell us how you went from just working for yourself to building your team. Like, what were some of the steps that were involved in that?
Well, first of all, just being willing to talk about what you're doing to other people, kind of being observant, with friends, family, associates as to what they're saying, how they're feeling. Because we always talk about work,
Right.
how the job is doing this and they're tripping on this and this and that. And it's like, are you happy there? So that was first, just kind of being willing to step outside of my comfort zone and talk to people. But the main thing too is that following the system that we have. I'm very fortunate that I work with a firm that has a system in place. So if you want to know how to recruit or how to sell a certain product or how to educate, all of those things are so very structured that as long as you are not standing in your own way, follow the system, then you can start to scale in that way. And that would be where I started, was just really recognizing that although I've been in the industry for many, many years, I've not had this type of support and guidance and system so set that it's like, oh, I kind of know these things or that thing, and just being willing to just follow the system. Don't be so stubborn, and that that getting out of your own way. So that's basically the first thing I did, was get out of my own way. Also being more consistent with results driven activities. I like to talk to people, I don't really, I say stepping out of my comfort zone is speaking to people I don't know. So that's uncomfortable for me. But once I can have a conversation, I am a talker, so I do
Mhm.
like to talk and educate and things like that. But I found that I was doing more of the like the training and talking to someone or helping someone with some information or this or that, who might be on my team, but not really doing the like we had. I think we talked about last week. See, it's coming back again. Um, Making the calls, right?
Right, those income producing activities.
Absolutely. So that's a part that plays into scaling and then duplicating myself.
Mhm.
That's really big in our business is when you have a structured system that you can follow and it's easy to have someone else follow and it's clear. That's, making sure that, when I talk to my broker, hey, what's our next step? What's the best way to do it? Not just kind of reading it and thinking that I know everything or I know what I'm doing. It's good to get someone who's already done it, ask for
Mhm.
their advice, their guidance, and just roll with it. Trust the system.
Yeah, and I like what you said about being in the industry for years and years, but you actually, even with you having all that experience, you actually still had to learn a new system because it sounds like they were doing it a little bit differently than you had in the past. So it's almost like it's a humbling experience. Because obviously, one thing that's nice about systems is that they're often already proven. Like even when you
100%.
go,
Yes.
yeah, when you go to McDonald's, most McDonald's, it doesn't really matter which McDonald's you go to or which country, they drop the fries the same way because the system works and it's been proven. So I really like what you said that sometimes when we are learning a new industry or even working for another company, it's almost like you're relearning because even when you're in the same industry, every single company or business has their own culture. So even
Mhm.
if you know the business, you still have to learn the culture. So there's always going to be a learning curve whenever, like I said, I've been teaching now for 7 years full time with elementary education. And every time I go to another school, I have to relearn that culture. So
Right.
even though I have experience, you learn the culture is always new. So I did want to throw that out there as well.
I'm glad you did. That's a great point, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what I think I was getting at as well. Like and
Mhm.
there is, the way that I was trained with one company versus, technology and things change over the years. You have to be willing
Right.
to actually change with the changes, and grow. So yes, there's different ways that different companies do things, and the
Mhm.
old way is not always the best way. So just being willing to be coachable, and help yourself to help your team. And in my industry, basically, we're building a team of agents. So in order for me to be able to develop them, I need to be developed first. And even though I may be more developed than they are starting at this point, if I don't continue to grow, they're going to outpace me. And then what do
Right.
they need me for?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's actually a compliment because you want to duplicate yourself so well that they won't need you. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely. No, true,
you
true.
want to get to that point.
No, that is true. Very true. Um, and then, I look at if I'm growing, but if I stand still, I guess is what I meant more is if I stand
They're
still.
gonna outpace you. I got you. I
Well,
know. I
well,
understand what
not
you're
only that, it's okay if they outpace me, if they come in and they're, just motivated and they get there faster than I did. I have no
saying.
problem with that. But if I stand still and my agents grow and they don't see me growing and keep reaching
Hmm.
for the top, why, you kind of go by the example. Your team usually, now there's some outliers who are just performers, but if you're talking just in general, your team is going to follow and get to about where you are. And if you don't continue
Hmm.
to grow, how do you expect them to continue to grow? So that's kind of what I meant by that. Like I would love to see my team outpace me in the sense of go in there, go balls to the wall, get it done. Like I'm all for that. But
Right.
if I don't continue to grow and actually reach for higher, how can I expect my team to do that?
That makes sense. You want to lead by example.
Exactly. I'm so wordy. I could have said that.
No, that's fine. So another question, you said you're getting to the point where you have to spend more time training your team. Have you thought about hiring someone to assist you with that, or outsourcing some of your training? Like, what does that look like for you? Or have moving forward, what do you think that looks like?
That's a great question. And actually, that's where I am right now. I just texted a fellow agent. Another thing that I love about our business and our structure, the way that we are, we help each other. So,
That's good.
yeah, I reached out to another one of our agents who is what we call a certified field trainer. And I said to her, I said, you know, we've got more agents coming on the team and I'm not stopping. I'm ready. And, you know, I want to see this team succeed and keep promotions going and whatnot. And I said, I'm probably going to need help training them. And when you're training your agents as a certified field trainer, our trainees can actually earn money as they're training. So we may set up an appointment where they're training and they're just watching. But if we close business in that appointment, we split the commission, right?
Gotcha.
So if I'm asking another CFT or another agent to train one of my agents, that trainer would split that business. Now I would get like the override on my agent, but at the same time, this is still helping me build my team. It's also, you know, you're still getting paid if you're able to close the it's not every meeting,
right?
Obviously, but
Yeah.
So it benefits everyone. So as we help each other, it helps us. So that is one thing that I did recognize early on, and that's our structure that's why we're structured that way. If you are a builder, and that's one of our company is the best in the industry for building. And if you're really got your nose to the ground and trying to build your team, let's just say I get 10 agents, we're taking each agent through 10 appointments. I don't know how long it would take me to take them through 100 appointments by myself, right?
Right.
So yeah, leveraging that. We do, fortunately, again, our broker pays for our admin, so we've got help there. But if I didn't have that, that would be something to think about. You know, get to a certain point, you've got to focus on your, you know, what your strengths are and hire to, you know, first of all, hire to your weaknesses, but also looking at you know, you give the $15 an hour job to the admin as opposed to you doing the $200 to $500 an hour job, right? So that there is some balance there as well.
Yeah, I totally agree, because when you're thinking about duplicating yourself, you know, we had mentioned brick and mortar in our green room, and that is what, you know, the two greatest expenses a lot of times for business owners is brick and mortar and employees. Employees is probably your biggest expense, but if you can find the right one, they can double or triple your revenue. Whereas with real estate, whether you sell or not, it's like you still got to pay the rent, you still have to pay the mortgage. And the nice thing about an employee, if they don't work out, hopefully, you know, there's some type of a probationary period where, or you're in an at-will state where you just let them know, you know what, it's not working out. I'm sorry, but you know, I've got to move on, or this might not be a good fit. So that's the other thing with the employee that you were talking about with the leverage. Whereas with brick and mortar, there really is no leverage, for at least for if you're renting for the time that you're in the lease. And then if you purchase, you're even, you know, stuck even longer. So that's why I think hiring employees is probably more important to me than going out and immediately, you know, trying to find office space. I think the goal starting a business is just to get that revenue flowing. And then once it flows and you get to the point where you just reach capacity, like if you have product, you have no place else to put in your home, and you have to find a space, that's one thing. But when you don't have the customer base really to support yourself in the brick and mortar, I think the best thing you can do is just work on increasing revenue.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think it's timing. You just really have to, if you try to scale too fast, then you're going to run yourself into the ground, or you're going to go broke. If you scale too slow, then then you're not really getting. Well, it depends on your goals, but if your goal is to scale, faster, and you're dragging your feet on hiring to, like you just said, those admin things, or whatever the case may be, then you're not going to scale like you probably want to. So yeah, I think you just have to really evaluate, look at your time, track your time, and tracking is so important. I had to learn that. So
it is very important.
Yeah. It's huge. So
yeah, I wanted to say too, with the scaling, and you were talking about the timing, they say when you start something, you want to start fast because you build that momentum, and it's a lot easier once the momentum is built. But I think sometimes when we start too slow, even though the Bible says don't despise small beginnings, when we start too slow, it's easy to get discouraged. And like you said, you just kind of burn out and be like, this isn't working. And give up. So I think that, in my opinion, it's better to, just go all in and get the ball rolling as quickly as possible to build that momentum.
For sure. I agree 100%. Yeah, there's a balance in it, but you're definitely right. I agree.
Well, we will continue our conversation. I don't want to hold you up because I know you got to get off and train somebody else, but we really got to keep the discussion going because I know some people, we had discussed this before, how fear is, false evidence appearing real, according to Dr. Creflo Dollar. And that really is true. And I think a lot of people are so afraid to get something started because there could be fear of the unknown. What if some people are afraid of succeeding because they're like, well, what if I succeed? How am I going to keep this going? But I think one of the greatest fears is fear of failure. And what I've been hearing on the motivational videos that I've been watching is that fear of failure is not the worst fear. It's never trying, like not even making an effort, because if you don't make an effort to chase your dreams and to chase what's in your heart and what you believe God's put in your heart, there is no failure because you never even made an attempt or tried. So, yeah.
Really, bottom line is you don't fail because the first thing you did, or whatever, second, third thing didn't succeed the way you hoped it would. You fail when you quit.
Absolutely.
So every failure has a lesson in it, and you're going to learn more from your failures than you are from your success. And we've talked about that before.
Yes, we have.
You should look to fail at some things. Otherwise, what are you learning? So, but yeah, it is that fear. And I do love that acronym, false evidence appearing real. Because it really is when you think about it. And that's why they say there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Pretty much. So, but yeah. You and I will continue talking, and I know that I got to get on another appointment.
Yeah.
I really
congratulations on you building your business and you building your team, and you definitely got to keep me posted, because what I'd like to do is somehow come up with some kind of an example of, looking at numbers with you just working with yourself, and as versus you building your team, so people can kind of see the benefits of having a team. I know some people want to work solo and just do everything by themselves, but I think if we can show some hard evidence, we might be able to sway some people over to wanting to, get that help and support to help them scale their business. So we definitely got to continue, Kim. I will see you in 2 weeks, and we'll continue our conversation at that point.
Awesome. I look forward to it. I'm sorry we had to cut this one short because
I know. I want you to take care of your business. We don't want to just talk about making it happen. We actually want to be out there making it happen. So we'll chat 2 weeks. You have to let me know how your training goes.
Absolutely. All righty. Well, thank you so much. As always.
You're welcome.
Great.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.